Although the main screenwriting credit on The Leopard Man went to Ardell Ray, it's mostly the work of producer Val Lewton. He condensed the cast of characters, expanded the role of Clo-Clo, played by Margot, and relocated the book's setting from South America to New Mexico. As head of RKO's horror unit, Lewton was governed by only two rules. No picture could cost more than $150,000, and it couldn't run more than 75 minutes. And while he and director Jacques Tourneur clearly deserve their reputations as master movie craftsmen, I note that all the suspenseful set pieces in The Leopard Man, including Teresa Delgado's blood seeping under her locked front door, were lifted directly from Cornell Woolrich's novel, right down to the specific images. These scenes aren't arty improvements on cheap horror material, as some Lewton scholars have suggested. They're precise recreations of what Woolrich put on the page. Jean Brooks, who played Kiki Walker, began her career as a singer in New York under the name Gene Kelly. In Hollywood, she acted in B films at Universal and MGM, and in 1941, she married up-and-coming writer Richard Brooks, which was fortuitous for her, given that another Gene Kelly made their movie debut at MGM in 1942. As part of RKO's stock company, Brooks made the films for which she's most remembered, 3 with Val Lewton, and a bunch of Falcon movies with Tom Conway. The Leopard Man was a solid earner for RKO, but Val Lewton felt constrained by the formula he'd created. His next film, The Seventh Victim, also co-starring Jean Brooks, strayed further from horror and was not well received, either by audiences or critics. It's great. The commercial failure of The Seventh Victim and its follow-up, The Ghost Ship, dented Lewton's status at RKO and prompted the studio to bring in cinema's most sinister star to bolster Lewton's subsequent efforts. Boris Karloff would have his name above the title on The Body Snatcher, Isle of the Dead, and Bedlam, the last 3 horror shows Lewton produced at the studio. At first, Lewton resented having to work with the man who personified a more obvious approach to horror, but the two ended up fast friends. Lewton made a few excellent non-horror films, such as Mademoiselle Fifi and Apache Drums. Sadly, he died from a heart condition in 1951 at only 46 years of age. He never got to see himself immortalized in 1952's The Bad and the Beautiful, where Kirk Douglas plays a producer who becomes the talk of Hollywood, making cheap horror movies exactly the way Val Lewton made them at RKO. Next week, we'll return to the American Southwest for a strange film from 1956 that's a Cold War variation on the noir classic Detour. Hitchhiker Sterling Hayden gets more than he bargained for when he accepts a ride from enigmatic Ruth Roman in 5 Steps to Danger, a title that makes no sense given that Roman drives a gorgeous convertible. In the meantime, keep up with your fellow noiristas on the Noir Alley Facebook page and Twitter feed. And be sure to feed your cats. You don't ever want them angry at you. Until next week, see you in the shadows. Happy Halloween.